My name is Marcus, and I fell in love with the wrong twin. Her name was Olivia. Beautiful, brilliant, everything I'd ever wanted. We dated for 6 months before I met her identical twin sister, Ava. They looked exactly the same. But the moment Ava spoke, I realized something terrifying. I'd been in love with the wrong woman all along. This is the story of how loving someone's face led me to discover I needed someone's soul. Marcus met Olivia at a networking event. She was a corporate lawyer. Sharp, ambitious, beautiful. Their first date was intellectual sparring disguised as dinner conversation. She challenged him. He rose to meet her. They were equals in every measurable way. 6 months in, their relationship was textbook perfect. They attended art galleries, discussed philosophy, had incredible physical chemistry. Friends called them the power couple. On paper, Olivia was everything Marcus thought he wanted. Sophisticated, driven, someone who matched his ambition. But sometimes, in quiet moments, Marcus felt something missing. A depth he couldn't name. Olivia was brilliant at conversation but guarded about emotions. She analyzed feelings rather than experiencing them. When Marcus wanted to talk about fears or dreams, Olivia deflected with logic. "You're overthinking," she'd say when he tried to go deeper. "We're good together. That's enough." Marcus convinced himself she was right. Maybe depth was overrated. Maybe adult relationships were about compatibility, not fairy tale connection. Olivia was perfect for him in every tangible way. The missing piece was probably just romantic fantasy, something movies invented, not something real people actually found. Then Thanksgiving came. Olivia invited him to her family's house. "Fair warning," she said. "My twin sister Ava will be there. We're identical. People get confused." Marcus had known Olivia had a twin but never met her. "How different can you be?" he joked. "Completely," Olivia said, something unreadable in her tone. "You'll see." Marcus met Ava and his world tilted. She had Olivia's face exactly. Same bone structure, same eyes, same beauty. But everything else was different. Where Olivia was polished, Ava was authentic. Where Olivia wore designer suits, Ava wore vintage band t-shirts and paint-stained jeans. Where Olivia commanded rooms, Ava moved through them like music. "You're Marcus," Ava said, shaking his hand. Her smile was different, warmer, more open. "Liv talks about you constantly. The architect who makes buildings that don't look like every other building." "Guilty," Marcus said, disturbed by how her hand felt in his. Different from Olivia's, somehow, despite being genetically identical. Throughout dinner, Marcus couldn't stop comparing them. Olivia discussed Supreme Court cases. Ava talked about the community art program she ran for at-risk kids. Olivia debated politics with their father. Ava told stories that made everyone laugh, tears streaming down faces identical to her sisters, but expressing completely different emotions. When Olivia went to help their mother in the kitchen, Ava turned to Marcus. "Can I ask you something? Do you love my sister?" The question caught him off guard. "Yes, of course." "No, I mean, do you love her? Or the idea of her?" Ava's eyes, Olivia's eyes, held different depths. "Because Liv is amazing, brilliant, successful, strong. But she doesn't let people in. And you look like someone who needs that." Marcus couldn't answer. Because in that moment, looking at Olivia's identical face expressing Ava's different soul, he realized something horrifying. He'd been dating the wrong twin. That night, staying in the guest room, Marcus couldn't sleep. The revelation pounded through him. He'd been attracted to Olivia's appearance, impressed by her achievements, compatible with her lifestyle. But connection, real, soul-deep connection, he'd never felt it. He'd thought that was normal. That relationships were about matching resumes, not matching hearts. Then he'd met Ava, identical face, opposite person, and understood the difference. In 2 hours with Ava, he'd felt more seen than 6 months with Olivia. She'd asked him about his dreams, not his career trajectory, about his fears, not his 5-year plan. She'd looked at him like he was interesting, not useful. The cruelty was staggering. They were identical twins. How could he be wrong about which one he should love? Attraction wasn't supposed to work this way. You fall for someone's face, their presence, their whole package. You don't discover you've been dating the wrong identical person like picking the wrong key for a lock that almost fits. Marcus lay awake, horrified. What did this make him? Shallow? Attracted to appearance over substance? Or worse, so disconnected from his own needs that he'd spent 6 months with someone perfect on paper while ignoring that his heart was elsewhere? And the worst part, Ava. Sweet, open, vulnerable Ava who had her sister's boyfriend noticing her in ways he absolutely shouldn't. Who'd looked at him with something like recognition. Who'd asked, "Do you love her?" Like she already knew the answer was more complicated than yes. Morning came. Marcus had to face Olivia, pretend everything was normal, and somehow unknow what he now knew. He was in love with the wrong twin. The weekend continued. Marcus tried to focus on Olivia, but kept gravitating toward Ava. At breakfast, he'd ask Ava about her art instead of engaging with Olivia's work story. During a family walk, he'd fall into step with Ava while Olivia walked ahead with their parents. Every conversation with Ava felt effortless. Every interaction with Olivia suddenly felt like work. Olivia noticed. "You're being weird," she said privately. "Did Ava say something to upset you?" "No, she's great," Marcus said, too enthusiastically. Olivia's expression sharpened, the lawyer detecting a lie. The day after Thanksgiving, Olivia had to return to the city for work. "Stay one more day," her mother insisted to Marcus. "Ava can drive you back tomorrow." Olivia agreed, missing the danger entirely. That night, Marcus and Ava ended up alone, doing dishes. The intimacy of the mundane task felt more romantic than any date with Olivia. Ava washed, Marcus dried, and they talked about everything: childhood, loss, hope, fear. Real conversation, not performance. "Can I tell you something?" Ava said, handing him a plate. "I feel like I know you, like we've met before." "I know that sounds. I feel it too," Marcus interrupted, then stopped himself. "I shouldn't have said that. Because of Liv." Ava's face, Olivia's face, but entirely different, showed pain. "She loves you, you know, in her way. She doesn't do emotions easily. But you matter to her." "I know," Marcus said, "and I care about her. But Ava." He trailed off, unable to say it. "But I think I'm falling in love with you." Ava stepped back, creating necessary distance. "We can't. This can't happen. She's my sister. My twin. There's a code." "I know," Marcus agreed miserably. "I'm sorry. This is wrong. But chemistry doesn't care about morality." And both of them knew something inevitable was starting. At 2 a.m., Marcus found Ava in the kitchen, unable to sleep either. They stood in the darkness, parallel insomniacs, until Ava said, "This is impossible." "What is?" Marcus asked, though he knew. "This. Whatever this is." Ava turned to face him, Olivia's face expressing completely un-Olivia emotions. Raw, vulnerable, real. "I've never felt this with anyone. But it's my sister's boyfriend. I can't. We can't." Marcus stepped closer. "Wrong, but inevitable. I've been with Olivia 6 months. I've known you 2 days. How is this stronger?" "Because it's real," Ava whispered. "What you have with Liv is compatibility. This is connection. And that's worse because we can't act on it." They were inches apart now. Marcus could see flecks of gold in her eyes. Olivia's eyes, that he'd somehow never noticed with Olivia. "Tell me to leave," he said. "I can't," Ava admitted. "Because I want you to stay." They almost kissed. Lips inches apart, breath mingling, every reason not to screaming at them. But at the last second, Ava pulled away. "No, I won't be the sister who does this. Liv and I share everything, but we can't share you." "I'm not a possession," Marcus said. "I'm a person who's realizing he's with the wrong woman because he fell for a face before he met the soul behind it." "But you did choose her," Ava countered. "That has to mean something." "It means I was wrong," Marcus said simply. "And staying wrong doesn't make it right. It just makes everyone miserable longer." Ava looked at him with Olivia's face but entirely her own expression. Torn, wanting, ethical. Go back to the city tomorrow. Figure out what you want with Liv. If you break up with her, wait. Don't come to me immediately. I need to know this isn't just confusion, or novelty, or some twin fetish. It's not. Wait, Ava insisted. If in 6 months you still feel this way, and Liv has moved on, then maybe. But I won't be the reason you end things. And I won't betray my sister for a man who might just be intrigued by having access to 2 versions of the same face. She left him in the kitchen, and Marcus realized she was right, and hated her wisdom almost as much as he was falling in love with it. Back in the city, Marcus tried to continue with Olivia, but everything had changed. Her perfectionism annoyed him now. Her emotional distance felt suffocating rather than sophisticated. He noticed how she'd correct his stories at parties, how she'd dismiss his feelings as dramatic, how she'd schedule intimacy like business meetings. None of this had bothered him before because he'd thought relationships were supposed to be rational. Now he knew different, knew what connection felt like, and couldn't unknow it. 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, Marcus ended it. Olivia, I care about you, but something's not right between us. Explain, Olivia said, lawyer to the end. Give me specifics. How could he? We're not emotionally compatible. We function well together, but we don't connect deeply. That's vague corporate speak, Olivia snapped. Is there someone else? No, Marcus lied. Technically true, nothing had happened with Ava. Spiritually false, everything had happened with Ava. Is this about Ava? Olivia asked suddenly sharp. You've been different since Thanksgiving. Since you met her. This is about us, Marcus deflected. About what we're missing. We're missing nothing, Olivia argued. We're successful, attractive, intellectually matched. What more could you possibly want? To feel seen, Marcus said quietly. To have conversations where I don't feel like I'm being cross-examined. To be with someone who values emotions as much as achievements. Olivia's face hardened. Lawyer accepting defeat in a case she'd expected to win. You're being foolish. What we have is rare. You're chasing some romantic fantasy. Maybe, Marcus admitted, but I'd rather chase what feels real than settle for what looks right on paper. Olivia left with her dignity intact but devastation in her eyes. Ava's eyes, in Olivia's face. And Marcus felt like a monster for being relieved. Ava heard about the breakup from Olivia, who called crying. Something Olivia never did. He left me. Said we weren't emotionally compatible. This is bullshit, right? We were perfect together. Maybe perfect on paper isn't perfect in reality, Ava said carefully, guilt crushing her. This is about you, Olivia said suddenly. Something happened at Thanksgiving. He was different after meeting you. Ava, did something happen? No, Ava said truthfully. Nothing happened. But something could have, Olivia pressed. I saw how he looked at you, how you looked at him. Tell me I'm paranoid. Ava couldn't lie. Liv, I would never. But you wanted to. Olivia's voice turned cold. My own twin. We shared DNA, Ava. We shared a womb. And you want my boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend. Ava corrected miserably. And I didn't pursue anything. I told him to wait, to figure himself out. I've done nothing wrong. Except exist. Olivia spat. Except be you while looking like me. Except make him realize I wasn't enough. She hung up. Ava sat in her studio, surrounded by paintings she'd created since Thanksgiving. All featuring a man's silhouette she wouldn't admit was Marcus. She'd fallen for her sister's boyfriend, tried to do the right thing, and still destroyed her relationship with Olivia. When Marcus texted, "Can we talk?" 6 weeks after the breakup, Ava knew she should say no, should prioritize her sister. But she also knew Olivia would never forgive her regardless. The damage was done. The question was whether to let the destruction mean nothing, or let it mean something worth the cost. She texted back, "Give me your address. I'll come over tonight." Because sometimes, being ethical means knowing when the ethical choice has already been lost, and choosing truth over continued martyrdom. When Ava arrived at Marcus's apartment, They stood in his doorway frozen. 8 weeks since Thanksgiving. 6 weeks since he'd left Olivia. Months of trying to do the right thing. And now, this moment. "I shouldn't be here," Ava said. "I know," Marcus replied. "But I'm glad you are. Olivia will never forgive either of us." "I know that too." They moved into his apartment. Stood in his living room with careful distance. "Tell me this isn't just about how I look," Ava said. "Tell me you're not with me because I'm her but different. Because I'm novel. Because I'm the forbidden twin." Marcus crossed the space between them. "I fell for you despite how you look. Your face made me approach Olivia. But you, your soul, your openness, your realness, that's what made me realize I'd been with the wrong person. I love you for who you are. The fact that you look like her is actually the complication, not the appeal." "She thinks I stole you," Ava said, voice breaking. "You can't steal someone who wasn't really yours to begin with," Marcus said. "I was never truly Olivia's. I was playing at a relationship that looked right. With you, it feels right." They came together, finally, inevitably, 6 months after meeting. The kiss was relief and homecoming and guilt all mixed together. When Marcus undressed her, Ava said, "This body looks like hers." "But you're not her," Marcus replied. "Every movement, every sound, every moment of this. It's you. Entirely you." They made love with a desperation born of months of denial. It was passionate and tender and real in ways sex with Olivia never had been. Afterward, tangled together, Ava cried, "I've destroyed my relationship with my sister for this. It better be worth it." "I'll spend every day making sure it is," Marcus promised. And meant it, because this was what right felt like. The confrontation came at their parents' house. 6 months after Marcus and Ava went public, Olivia arrived unexpectedly, found them there together, and decades of twin rivalry exploded. "How can you even look at him?" Olivia demanded of Ava. "Knowing I was with him first? Knowing what we shared?" "You didn't share anything," Ava shot back. "You shared space and schedules. Marcus needed connection, and you gave him compatibility. I'm sorry it happened this way, but Liv, you two weren't right for each other. So you decided you were? Based on what? A weekend of conversations?" Olivia turned to Marcus. "Is that it? She's the fun twin, so you picked her? The cool, artistic one versus the boring, successful one." "That's not what this is," Marcus said. "Olivia, you're incredible. Accomplished, brilliant, strong. But we didn't connect emotionally. I tried. I wanted it to work. But with Ava." "Don't," Olivia interrupted. "Don't tell me about your connection with my identical twin while looking at me with her face. Do you understand how fucked up this is? You're with someone who looks exactly like me but isn't me. What does that say about any of us?" She had a point. The identity crisis was real. Marcus loved Ava's soul, but she wore Olivia's face. Did that matter? Should it? "I'm not you," Ava said quietly. "Marcus knows that. Yes, we look identical. But he chose me because of who I am inside this face, not because of the face itself." "Prove it," Olivia challenged. "If I changed my personality tomorrow, became open, emotional, artistic, would he leave you for me? Or is it really about the person, not just the package?" The question hung in the air, unanswerable. Because the truth was complicated. Marcus had been initially attracted to a face. He'd dated the wrong woman attached to it, then found the right woman with the same face. Could he separate those truths? Could anyone? 2 years later, Marcus and Ava were engaged. Not because of her face, but despite the complications it caused. They'd done therapy, both couples and individual, working through the identity issues. Marcus had to confront his initial shallowness. Ava had to accept that she'd always look like her sister, and that would always be part of their story. "Do you ever look at me and see her?" Ava asked one night. "Honestly? Sometimes, for a split second," Marcus admitted. "Usually when I'm half asleep or distracted. But then you speak or move or laugh, and you're entirely you again. Your soul is so different from hers that I can't confuse you for long." At their engagement party, Olivia appeared, surprising everyone. She'd brought a date, a kind-eyed musician who clearly worshipped her. "I'm not here to forgive," she said to Ava, "but I'm here to move forward. You're my twin. We share DNA. I don't have to like what happened, but I'm tired of letting it consume me." To Marcus, she said, "You and I weren't right for each other. I see that now. You needed someone who does emotions. I needed someone who respects my boundaries. That's not compatible, and pretending otherwise would have made us both miserable." She gestured to her date. "Daniel gets me, challenges my intellect without demanding I perform vulnerability I don't have. Maybe you finding Ava helped me realize what I actually needed. Someone different from you." It wasn't full reconciliation, but it was progress. The twins would probably never be as close as before, but they could exist in the same room without destruction, and that was something. Years later, at Ava and Marcus's wedding, someone asked him, "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you'd met Ava first?" Marcus looked at his bride. Olivia's identical face, Ava's unique soul, the right woman he'd found in the wrong order. "Every day," he admitted. "But maybe I needed to meet Olivia first to appreciate Ava. Maybe I needed to learn that attraction starts with a face, but love requires a soul. And sometimes the universe makes you learn that lesson by giving you the same face attached to two different souls, forcing you to choose what actually matters." Ava overheard, squeezed his hand. "You chose right," she whispered. "I chose real," Marcus corrected. "And real is always right." In the crowd, Olivia stood with Daniel, watching her twin marry her ex-boyfriend. It still stung, probably always would, but she was happy enough in her own life to let that be okay. Because sometimes, being the wrong person for someone is just as important as being the right person for someone else. The twins made eye contact across the wedding venue. Identical faces, opposite lives, both finally where they belonged. Not forgiven, but free. And that was the best ending any of them could hope for. If this story messed with your head, like and subscribe to IntuiLove Stories for more psychologically complex love stories about attraction, identity, and choosing the right person. Comment. Could you fall for someone's twin? Is it about the face or the soul? Discuss. Feel the emotion. Live the story. See you next time. Broken heart people with bunny ears sparkles.